thing I learned, I guess, from the girls, right, was to up the manipulation, really, right? So totally ruin Jim's reputation, right? Like we've never met or talked, but I clearly have an obsession with him, right? I don't know him, so he's just a celebrity that I have this obsession with. So if I ruin his reputation, right, make him out to be a sex offending freak, lie about the cheating, lie about the stuff, right, because it happened in another world at a different time. But if I ultimately tell that story, right, then and the pedophile thing, put that in there, so if I up all of the great, like, but because I'll just use the power of my friends, right? So I'm obsessed with him because he's, whatever celebrity and got all that attention, stuff like that. But I pick him as my target, and I use my business friends because I do network marketing because we like pyramid schemes, right? And right, that's how. And the criminals, so they are in on that too. They're like, well, let's like fuck around with people, so let's do that. So they're into the manipulation too, right? So then ultimately, if his reputation's ruined and he has no friends left, it'll create a codependent relationship and he'll be stuck with only me anyways. So that's basically what the girls taught me to do, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, clearly I'm a prisoner and a slave to the supernatural, but I'm stubborn as fuck, right? So that's why it's like, that's the thing. But then you got, like, ultimately that comes down to you guys, right? Being assholes. And now are you fucking gonna help or what? Because this is getting out of hand. And so far on this side, that's not a joke. Nobody, like, I've seen no help on this side. That's a real thing. I'm doing this by myself. So, like, are you guys actually gonna do something? Are we ever gonna meet? Because you're the one delaying the process now, not me.
Entrepreneur, hustler, manipulator, liar. Just depends what you're lying about to who, I guess. Why we do that as people pleasers ultimately became like not bad intentions behind it. No, trying to help people. Why? The core of us super insecure. Start making that shit up, right? Because we're not good enough unless we create some illusion. Some business people or magicians in a different way, right? And go back to being a kid. That kind of mentality where it comes, right? Not good enough, not good enough. It's how we get our friends. Manipulation. So ultimately, the vision was what? Being married to Jim. And him going, oh fuck, she's got to go off, do her own thing. Like, I'm going to see her, watch her go. And she's going to go do that undercover billionaire show, right? And Elena's sending Grant off because he's in the manipulative hustler liar group too, right? That's the twin, but we go back to being kids. That's when we're kids doing that shit. We're with good intentions to actually help the world. So clearly we're a little bit fucked up, right? But we also like fucking with people because that's fun too, right? So then that's like, in this, that's the only way we're gonna start to have fun, right? And that's kind of where like Jim's like, oh, there's a door. Like, just I'm there. I support you. You're fucked. I just make up a whole bunch of lies. Ultimately, it wasn't lies. It was real stuff that happened, but in a different world. I just had to get better at not being hurt by it, right? And seeing different things. And it's the same thing. That's why, like, obviously, that's why Elena sent Grant off too. She's like, buddy, you gotta go out. You're being, like, totally whacked. Like, you're totally fucking whacked right now. I'll man the house, I'll man the fort, and whatever. You fucking make up your own shit, because it's fucked. I don't know who wins the prize for that. Discovery Channel? Probably. It's a discovery. Oprah voted on that one, so she gets points. Looks like the Amazon guy, doesn't it, Jeff? I think so, kind of. Sand, ocean. The Jesus walks thing, have you ever seen it, where it's like, why in the hardest times of my life is there only one set of footprints? Because that's when Jesus said he carried you. I never turned away from God. It's just in discovering that Jesus is my husband, right? Like any married couple, he can't be fucking perfect. No. So he might have saved all of you guys in different ways, but he fucking ultimately pissed me off. So that's a whole different thing. Yeah, but Jay, ultimately you're still a boy, right? So you're still a guy. So because we're in this motivational speaker fucking challenge, and obviously your wife's gonna kick your ass because she's on Mel Robbins' team, right? Because fuck off with the positive all the time, right? Positive, positive. Well, sometimes we don't feel like being positive, so you get a punch right to the face. Mom for the win there. Yes, right. I guess they will let you out of the contract, maybe, right? Because ultimately that goes back to Grandpa, right? Because of the coke thing, right? Because it's rehab and everybody was trying to, you guys were trying to get off the coke thing, so we tied that back around. Ultimately, right, to the stand and how that works out. And, right, because the Wolf of Wall Street thing, ultimately, though, Grandpa's saying that he's still taking credit over that, Jordan, because really it was him who fixed your management problem. So really, ultimately, that comes down to this has been a whole business training, right, for stocks, right? But I don't own any stocks, but I'm doing the training, right, for the investments. Because the next stage, right, I got to actually make money. Because why am I not motivated to organize my finances and all of this mess? I'm not making an income right now. So I'm like, well, get the business going. The income comes in all of a sudden, then I can make a new game out of organizing the business and the finances. Then that'll be fun. Right now, it's not fun knowing I'm just fucking pissing out money all of the time. Essentially, I needed the business to work so I can function. So the next thing, so going with that outreach on Monday, going to get numbers coming in, and then I can start to organize this and then go back at these corporations, organizations, all that for fucking up my credit wrongfully, but also ultimately too, like I just gave up because I was like, fuck, like I'd rather just, here's that mess. I know it's there. Everybody, like, ultimately it's been everybody else's bullshit. I can only take so much, make some money, and then I'll fucking organize the company and everything as it grows, right? But ultimately, what have I done? What have you watched me do? I reinvest the money. I have money, but I reinvest it into myself. The company is the one with the money. I'm paying people. I'm reinvesting. That it's investment. So what's the lesson here from Grandpa to you fuckers that have not been able to manage money, right? You can be broke at all different levels. So you just have more shit. You're still fucking broke. You're just liars, right? These like, fuck you, I'll go get a Lamborghini and put it in my ads or my posts and talk more shit. You guys can't afford half the shit you're fucking lying about, right? So now proper money management. And how fucking hard's your dick gonna get when you don't have your fucking cars and clothes and all of those things, right? To make you, like, how many women are fucking interested in you? Okay, now I'm gonna take away your appearance. How many women are interested in you? Right? And then that goes over to the gay thing. How many men would be interested, right? Anderson, you had to take that hit on being too a bit, perfect, right? With the OCD stuff, right? And Mr. kind of like, were you getting snobby? Were you a snobby gay? I think you were a snobby gay, right? Because ultimately, why would you be here, right? Like you were into the snobby gay thing. I'm the crazy lesbian, right? And you're ultimately the snobby gay, right? That had to be because we had our crossover there, right? Right, that's our crossover, and like you had to let yourself go a little bit because so it's like so that ties back into the training. At this point, Rob Lowe really wants to be set free, but ultimately it's not my thing anymore, right? Like that went, they roped you into that too, right? So ultimately you'd have to talk to Stephen King about that if they're gonna let you out of this contract. Right, so I just saw it on the thing with the UPS. Why would you say that if you can't? Like, this is the instructions. I'm in Canada and you give me this, but I can't do it because your website's blocked and only lets people do it that are in America. Well, fuck you, right? So that's not good for your customer service. And then I just said, because we'll close up, what are the bets, right? The shoes, Olivia Wilde, are you making shoes right now, right? Fuck Jim. I told you I'm not fucking talking to Jim, right? Fuck him. Fuck Jesus. Go fuck yourselves. I'm done with that. So we're him and I are over. Superstar comedy, is that a thing, Kevin? Is that the new show that we're promoting? Fine. Right, obviously we're at the part where, because this breakup with Jim, like finally I needed to see who's really been on my side or not, or what that like scenario, right? Because he's a cheating asshole. So like everybody, oh Jim, this nice guy, right? Fuck him, he's not. And really needed to assess who's like there for me or who's not or who's just doing whatever. So obviously that's why, it got a little bit sideways because Dracula was still siding with fucking Jim, right? So that's when that crossed over, like when he's Beast, and had to bump you over to Gaston, obviously. And then that's why Alex became Prince Charming, which ties in the Stan, right? Because he was the devil, right? But then Johnny said he would take the devil thing, right? Because he'd be the plague. And ultimately because then he's like, no, I'm more on her side, right? Because like I get it, like he's a cheating asshole, but because everybody Mr. Love, Mr. Jim Carrey, right? Like he's a fucking like, oh, he's the best, and he's like this, funny nice guy. He's gone this spiritual way. He's like seeming to be like this Jesus character or whatever that everybody's fucking thing, but no, it turns out he's just an asshole, right? So we had to reassess who's on. I really needed to know like who's on my side or not, right? So that's how that ultimately. I guess I figured out who was really doing what, right? Like, I wasn't going to give my friends an ultimatum and say, oh, you have to pick me or whatever else. I'm not fucking like that. But he seemed to be, and he was talking a lot of shit about so many people. So I'm like, why am I going to fucking keep this guy's secrets anyways, right? Like, all he did was talk shit about you guys in the first place, right? Like, he's totally two-faced. So he might have been playing the Riddler, but he should have been playing Two-Face because he was a totally different person, right? So I'm just, fuck it. I'm just going to expose all of his secrets. Like, it's not a joke that I'm death right now, right? Everything around me is dying. Like, that's not a joke, right? So that's like Meet Joe Black, right? That crossover thing, but that's the real thing, right? So it's like death. He's at the door going, okay, I'm overworked. Like, I need to fucking like, right? Like, death wants some fucking rights too, right? Because that's the Grim Reaper as a character, ultimately, and it has to be passed around. And right now, I'm fucking having it. And I really am death. That's what the plague thing. Like, in my real life, everything around me has died. So it's death sitting there going, okay, who's next? Like, he's got a system, but he's fucking overworked, right? So he's looking at, like, he's like, when do I get to get out of this job? Because this is, like it is a death sentence. And kind of wants to have a life too, right? Like, death doesn't get a life. Whoever has to play death doesn't get a life, right? So Johnny had to pass that to me, and now I need to pass it to somebody else. Yes, there's some things that like we have to close up, right? Because of the whole witch thing too, and then the God thing, and the Satan thing, and then the Hollywood thing, and the rehab thing. Like, let's just fucking close this all off because I'm getting irritated, and I really need to move on with my life. Plus, you guys want all your fucking awards. Right, like on that, and because ultimately it came down to the fact that like I saw you guys giving me awards, but I haven't actually got them in this life. But at the same time, right, like I never was trying to get those awards, right? So I appreciate them, but I was never trying to get them. So it's kind of like that eventually, like inevitably, like made me just make my own award show, and that's how it all tied together. So in this particular case, right, I have to be like, so it kind of goes back to the same thing yesterday with Courtney. Sorry, but Amber got to do the same thing because let's be real here with this Wizard of Oz, evil witch kind of stuff, and this is where you're getting your second chance, but ultimately like had to be proven on a different theory, right? And Elon's money's not going to save you in this group. So, ultimately, like the Aaron situation, Amber, you're Aaron here, and you know it.